Hey, Lindsay, how are you?
Hey, Michelle, I'm feeling good today. How are you? I'm podcasting today from the lovely city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which I've never been to before. So, very excited.
How is it there? I've never been either.
Well, I'm going to go exploring tonight. So, I haven't had much of a chance to see it, but
Yeah.
so far it seems very cool.
Mhm.
I've heard it's pretty small, but it's kind of an
Yeah.
up and coming city. You know what I mean? You see a
Cool.
lot of old, kind of mid century modern houses combined with
Mm.
new builds.
Hmm.
So, you can tell there's a lot of development going on in Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I have a friend there. I've always kind of wanted to go, so you'll have to let me know.
Yeah, for sure. They have some really wild, like, local foods. Like, apparently, they like to put french fries on top of everything, like
Real?
salad, sandwiches
Really?
in the sandwich, so I'm gonna try some of that tonight.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Well, today we are going to talk about how to ask someone for help.
Yes.
Maybe you've had to ask someone for help recently, someone to do you a favor. So we're going to talk about different ways to do that because that is a huge connection skill.
That's a great skill. I'll just start off with a quick conversation question, Michelle. Do you find it easy to ask people for help? I struggle sometimes for the bigger things in life. Like, sometimes I
Yeah,
struggle asking for help. Do you have a problem with that, or is it pretty easy for you to ask for help, would you say?
that's a good question. I think I'm okay with it, actually.
Yeah.
It doesn't pop up in my mind as something that's like a challenge for me.
Yeah.
So no, I think I'm good with it.
That's good, Michelle, that's good. I think in our culture, like, some people get the message of, like, you should be able to do it by
Yeah.
yourself,
Yep.
independence, right? I think I got that somewhere, and so it's something I'm
Mm.
working on in my own development.
Mm.
Right. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Yeah, so we're
Mhm.
gonna talk more about doing that today, Lindsay. Maybe you'll get a few ideas
Yes,
of
I love
that, get
it.
more comfortable with it. But before we get into it, guys, we have this great app. If you don't already have it, it's on iOS and Android, and
Mhm.
it's the All Ears English app. It's amazing. What are some of the things you can do on this app, Lindsay?
Well, what listeners love the most about our app is to be able to see the transcripts, guys, right there inside the app. You see it right in the app as you're listening. You see every word we say, which is just
Yeah.
amazing. You can't get that anywhere else. And it also highlights key vocab words that you can tap on
Yeah.
and save in your personal power list. So, Michelle, where can they go to get that app? You get a premium subscription and a free trial.
Go on over to allearsenglish.com/app,
Love
APP.
it. Love it. All right, let's get into today's topic, Michelle. Where shall we start off today?
Okay, well, so guys, asking for help, and this could be for anything. I mean, it could be for work, with friends or family, whatever it is. What is something you might usually need help with? Like for me, I technology,
Yeah.
something with my kids, things like that. What do you usually want to ask for help with?
Well, this year I've needed a lot of help. I mean, one idea that comes to mind is we sold my aunt's house in California, and I've never sold a house before. So I needed help from my father and mother in law who are in that industry in California. I needed their help
Mm.
with reading the contract, signing the contract, pricing the house, all these things I had never done before. I really needed help with that, Michelle.
Yeah,
Badly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you were able to get help from, family.
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah, so one expression that we can teach before we really get into the other ones is lighten your load,
I love
right?
that.
So sometimes if you need someone, what does that mean to lighten someone's load?
You know, sometimes people have a lot on their shoulders, right? A lot on their plate. They're carrying a lot. You know, they have just a lot of responsibilities. So if you have a friend that you can lighten their load, maybe you take one thing off their plate. Maybe you offer to
Exactly.
drive their kid to school when you know they have a big presentation at work that day, for example,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, we want to help you lighten your load as far as grammar goes. So, you can listen to episode 2093, Her and I or Her and Me, your grammar questions answered. So, here we are to
Yeah.
help you guys with that.
Yeah, Michelle, we've been digging with Aubrey, really digging into a lot of grammar this fall on All Ears English. So, guys, go back and make sure you've hit follow on this show to get more amazing grammar episodes, and check those out to lighten your load.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So, what is one? We're going to teach a few expressions. So, this one, I think you came up with this, Lindsay. What is the first one?
I think this one is so fun and so cool. The expression is "do me a solid." Do me a
Do
solid.
me a solid. It's so funny because what does that even mean? It just, it's
I
just
don't
this
even know.
chunk that means, I like, but you would never say it in another way. I don't think you
It's
would say like, I
yeah.
need a solid, Lindsay.
No, we really can't do much other than you may say, like, "He did me a solid," like, "He helped me out."
Right, but it's always in,
Mhm.
like, the dude or
Do
do,
yeah.
someone, a solid. It's never like, "Oh,
Yeah.
can I ask you for a solid?" Like, it
No,
just
no, 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 yeah. To be honest, like, we
yeah.
don't I don't know where this comes from, I haven't researched it. All I know is that I heard it recently, and not for the first time, of course, I've heard it many
Yeah.
times in English, and when I hear it, I like it because, again, we're coming from a culture that values independence and hard work and do it by yourself, right? I mean, we even teach
Mhm.
our kids, tie your shoes all by yourself, right? And so when we can talk about helping someone out and then say it in a casual way, it takes a little bit of pressure off in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I like this one too. It sounds cool and
it sounds
fun.
cool. Yeah, fun and cool, sure.
So for yeah, fun and cool. So, for example, Lindsay, what's an example here of do me a solid?
All right, so you could say, "Could you do me a solid and pick up some bread for the dinner party?" Nice. Yeah,
Okay.
it really could be for any obviously, for huge things, it's a little less useful, right, Michelle?
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
I don't know, what would be something that might be a little too serious for this, Michelle? Would you say,
Like,
like
can you do me a solid and drive me to the hospital?
yeah, maybe in an
Like,
emergency situation, it's not the right moment for a
yeah.
fun expression like that. It's like, "Oh my god, I need your help. Can you drive us to the hospital?" Right?
Right, right. This is kind of for the more casual things. I mean,
Yes.
it could be, something real like but yeah, not something an emergency situation like that
Yes.
where something is very serious.
That's true, Michelle, because I think in those situations, you just communicate as directly as possible.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
and on the casual train here, Michelle, we have another one, right?
Yeah, so this one is help me out. So to help someone out, so I could say, if you could help me out with the invitations, that would be great.
Mhm. Also on the casual side of things, not quite as slangy as "do me a solid," right? "Do me a solid" is
Mhm.
like the most slangy thing.
Yeah.
But also very casual. "Hey, could you help me out?" Now, Michelle, what's the difference between "help me out" and "help me"?
I think that's a good question.
Yes.
I think help me out makes it slightly more casual.
I agree. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what it
Oh,
is.
good. Yay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the
'Cause
ultimately correct person, right? I don't
no, but
know, but
that's how it sounds to me. Like if I said, "Could you help me with the invitations?" Like
yeah.
that's fine, but help me out, it's just adding a little more casualness to it, I think.
Yeah, friendliness, casualness, making a little more, like, not so direct maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of times when we do make something a phrasal verb, it does make it a little bit more casual. When that
Mhm.
additional preposition doesn't change the meaning entirely, it just softens it, makes it a little more conversational. Yeah.
Right, it flows a little better.
Yeah, I like it. So what else?
Well, then we have one more that we're gonna go with. So this one is lend me a hand. And I was
Mhm.
just thinking we could do a follow-up on some more formal expressions because I think, yeah, these are definitely a little bit more casual and there are more formal ways to ask. So we could do a follow-up on that as well. But today we're sticking to the casual.
Yeah, I love it. So, for example, guys, write this one down. Can you lend me a hand with these boxes? Yeah, I like that idea, Michelle, of getting a little
Mhm.
more formal in a different episode another time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
hmm
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, actually we do have one more, so we'll get to that in a second.
All right, Michelle, last one for today. What is it? And then we're going to show our listeners a role play.
Yes, this one is do me a favor. Now, would you say I think favor is like a little bit more formal because we were talking about this construction of do me. I think like solid and favor. I think favor might be more common.
Yeah, for sure.
I think
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I don't know if it's necessarily more formal, but I think in general,
Yes.
yeah, if I would say.
It's much more common, "Do me a favor" than "Do me a solid."
Mhm.
For example, I don't picture, like, a grandmother using "Do me a solid." I just feel
Right.
like it's kind of
Right.
young, kind of slangy, but
Yeah.
I could imagine a grandmother saying, "Do me a favor,"
Yeah,
right?
I think do me a
Um
favor is like a really good one for everyone.
For everyone. It's much more mainstream, I would say.
Yeah.
So, how do we say
Um,
that?
well, you could say, "Do me a favor, keep track of our expenses on the trip."
That's interesting. You said, "Just do me a favor,
Yeah.
dash, keep track of our expenses on the trip." It's kind of a command in
It's
a
more
way,
yeah, it's a little different. I wanted to use it in a little bit of a different way. I could say, "Could you do me a favor and keep track of our expenses on the trip?" But I just
right?
said, "Do me a favor," right?
Yeah, or as a third option, you could say, "Do me a favor and keep track of our expenses on the trip." So that's instead of having the "could you," but you do have the
Right.
"and." So you have
Right.
a lot of options today, guys. That's why
Yeah.
we really wanna be listening in the app today to see the 3 options written out in our transcripts. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about how these are similar or different from each other. I think it also depends, how you ask, if you say can or if you say could. There's a lot of different ways that you could play with this to see how it
Mhm.
feels. I think it also depends how comfortable are you with the person. And then Lindsay brought up such an important point as to how formal is it, but also what is kind of the degree of help you need? Is it an emergency? Is it just a
Yeah.
light to question something? These are things
Yeah.
that we have to think about.
Oh my gosh, it really matters. It really matters. Yeah, how serious is the situation? How urgent is the situation? These all dictate our word choice, Michelle. But you do have a
Mhm.
lot of choices, guys, when it comes to asking for help.
Yeah, I would say if you were to choose one of these, would you for like more of an emergency situation,
An
what would you
emergency?
choose?
Like, for example,
Yeah.
if someone needed a ride to the emergency room, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Help me out. Would you
That's
help
what
me out
yeah.
and drive me to the ER? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or I
Yeah.
would or like, guys, if you really need someone's help, you just be direct. Just say, "I need your help."
I love
Right?
that.
Like,
I love that.
so, I agree with you. I think help just the word help, guys, that's what this is all about. So, you gotta
Yeah.
be direct in those situations. So, you could say, "Could you help me?" Or "I need your help." Right?
Yeah. I
"I
think
need
like
to go to the emergency room,"
yeah,
whatever.
like you said, Michelle, I think we really need another episode here with more serious, more urgent
Yeah.
requests, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you say,
yeah.
"Hey, do me a solid, take me to the ER," the person might say, "Oh,
Doesn't really matter.
you're okay." Maybe we
Yeah.
can just, make you an appointment for next Friday.
Right, right, it
So
might not seem as urgent, right?
exactly, exactly. It's all about the words we choose. So good. What else,
Yeah.
Michelle?
Alright, well, so should we do a role play to see how this
Yeah.
all fits together?
Yeah, so here we are friends and we're setting up for a surprise party. Nice. Here we go. I can't wait to
Alright.
see Milo's face when he comes in.
Same. Do me a favor, put the veggie tray on the other table.
Sure. Oh, can you lend me a hand with the streamers?
Yep. I can't reach, help me out.
Here you go.
Thanks.
Oh, and do me a solid. Don't text him until 3:55. We don't want him to arrive early.
You got it.
All right. So this is a very non-emergency situation, right,
Right.
Michelle? Yes.
Surprise party. Am I
Yeah.
do you like surprise parties? Has anyone ever
Yeah.
thrown you a surprise party?
Yeah, mhm, and when I was a teenager, my best friend Emma did. She threw me a surprise party when I was, like, 14, but not in my adult life, so
Aw.
yeah, what about you, Michelle? Do you like surprise parties?
Once, yeah, I once Dan threw me like a small, just it was maybe like 10 friends at a hibachi
Fun.
restaurant.
Aw, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, it's
Lovely.
always fun. I think it's fun to be a part of creating the
It's really
surprise
fun.
and like
It's
making up what is the story and like we always tell my dad, we threw my dad when he turned 50 a surprise party, and one of the reasons I think he kind of figured it out was because we made a story that like my brother was going to pick me up early from something, but it was early in the morning. And so then I don't know, as part of the story. And he
yeah,
thought, my brother's Adam, and he thought Adam would never wake up early in the morning to pick up Michelle. So
I
he knew
know.
that there was something wrong.
That's funny, I love yeah, you have to be really careful. Most of the time, people do figure out surprises, right? They do.
Yeah. Yeah.
They uncover it beforehand, but anyways,
Yeah.
it's a nice effort to put in for people you love. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It's fun. So let's go through this. So, I said, "Do me a favor," right? And so I
Yep.
didn't say, "Can you do me a favor?" It sounds like, we're just like kind of like quick zipping back and forth. Like, "Oh,
Yeah.
do me a favor." We're helping each other out. So it's
Yeah.
not like I'm commanding you just because I'm saying it in this way.
Right. And also, this is great for a casual situation because we're not even looking at each other face to face. You're hanging the streamers, I'm putting the veggies on the
Yeah.
table. Like we're kind of collaborating
Right.
in parallel, but we're not sitting and having a full conversation. So it's quick things
Yes.
like, "Hey, do me a favor. Hey, lend me a hand. Help me out.
Right.
Do me a solid," right? We're
Right.
not yeah, it's not complete sentences or anything happening here, right?
Right, so you don't have to worry here about sounding like you're giving big orders or anything like
No.
that. It's this is
Yes.
quick and zippy back and forth. We're working on stuff, so don't worry about
Yeah.
that.
I love it.
What's the next one?
All right. So yeah, you said do me a favor, put the veggies on the tray, and then can you lend me a hand with the streamers? Very common.
Yep.
All right. So
Yep,
maybe
yep,
that
yeah.
means that you're like physically going to like you're not going to do the streamers yourself. We're going to do them together,
Mhm,
right?
mhm. Right, 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 right. But then I have trouble reaching because 'cause I'm short.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm on a chair or whatever,
Yeah.
and I say, I can't reach, help me out."
Right. And then I help you. And then I say, "Oh, and do me a solid. Don't text until 3:55," right? And I would say if you're going to use this very, very slangy expression, "do me a solid," use it rarely, right?
Yeah.
Rarely. Be selective about how often you use it. It could get annoying to people if you use it too much, I think.
Yeah,
What do you
and
think?
I agree, you don't wanna do me a solid, do me a solid. It's one of those ones that are just gonna sound overdone,
Overdone.
because
Yes.
it's unique, because it's a little bit
Yes.
more unique. When you use the more unique expressions too frequently, I think that's when it sounds a little funny,
A
whereas
little
maybe the
cheesy.
other ones, yeah.
Right. Contrived.
But I
Mhm.
did want to point something out that I noticed. So we talked about help me being more for like the urgent situations.
Right.
And even though this is not a serious situation, I feel like, we're using it. So I'm saying I can't reach. So it's more urgent. Like maybe I'm standing on top of a chair and I'm having
Mm.
trouble. And here I use help me out. Like, what if I said like, I can't reach. Can you lend me a hand? I mean, I that's fine too, but like this one I do think has more of a feeling of like, oh, I need your
Help
help
me
right
out.
away.
Right, help me out. I can't reach. Maybe you're about to fall off of a ladder or
Yeah.
something.
Right, right. We don't want that. So yeah.
Yeah, very, very interesting, right? Just this one topic, guys, in English of how to ask for help is really important to know the nuances, the
Yeah.
situation. And again, we'll follow up with another episode on serious situations, directly
Yes.
asking for help. I need your help.
Yeah.
I need to go to the ER, for example. Michelle, what's the takeaway for today?
I think, don't be afraid to ask for help. I know it can be uncomfortable. We gave you many different ways to say it today, and we really kind of isolated one way, that's help me, as being a bit better for more urgent situations. But I think we gave you a lot of expressions and different situations in which these might occur and how you can use them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Good stuff, guys. Hit that follow button on All Ears English, and we will see you on the next episode. Michelle, have a good day. Do me a
You
solid and
too.
have a good day.
Ah, love it. All right. Bye, Lindsay. Good job.
Take care. Bye.